Over the past few Sundays, our gospel lessons have taken us through stories of Jesus teaching, calming the sea, and healing. And today, Jesus goes home. He has done these miraculous things, and now he returns to his hometown. On returning, he enters the synagogue that he grew up in. He begins to teach. The people are astonished at what he has to say and the wisdom he conveys. Then that moment of recognition comes. Isn't he Mary's son, the carpenter? We know his brothers and sisters. And in the moment of recognition comes a touch of contempt. And suddenly Jesus is unable to do any deeds of power. He heals a few who are desperate and open. But for the most part, he's been shut down at home. They don't believe in him. And Jesus says to them, prophets are not without honor except in their hometown. He was amazed at their unbelief. And he goes on to other villages, teaching, not deterred. Then he does the most amazing act. He calls his disciples together, giving them authority over demons and sending them out in pairs. They are to journey in faith, travel lightly, without food or money or an extra cloak. Wherever they go, they are to receive the hospitality offered, not holding out for a better offer. They are to go out into the world as guests, open and vulnerable, walking in faith. They are to share what they know, and if they are not welcomed or received, they are to shake the dust off their sandals and leave. Their call to discipleship is to go out into the world in faith as they are, not as one who knows everything, has everything, can do anything. They are to share in the ministry of Jesus. They are to go and heal, to share the word that they know, but most importantly, they are to walk in faith, relying on the grace of God for basic necessities. And perhaps in this vulnerable state, others are given the opportunity to be instruments of God's grace through welcome, generosity, goodness, and compassion, living their faith as they are able. The readings lately have been about faith, about growing and living into faith. Faith of a woman with a hemorrhage who believes if she only touches the hem of Jesus' garment, she will be healed. Faith of Jairus, whose daughter is ill and in need of healing. Faith is something that develops quietly within and slowly emerges. Sometimes it is revealed unexpectedly in a moment as you do something you didn't believe you were able to do. You have that realization, oh, I have faith. And from then on, just somewhere in your heart, you know you have faith. You stepped out. And that is what the disciples and we are to do. Step out. Step out in faith. There is a story about a woman who called herself Peace Pilgrim. I read her book several times many years ago. She was the first woman to hike the Appalachian Trail in a single season. And on that journey, she had a calling to go out and spread the word of peace, to be that loving presence in the world. And just like the apostles, she stepped out in faith, relying on the goodness and kindness of strangers. And she was not a young woman, but she stepped out wearing simply a blue tunic that said Peace Pilgrim, and with only a few small items in her pockets, a couple quarters, maybe pencil, a little pad of paper. And then she crisscrossed the country at least 6 times that I recall, encountering many people, embodying the message of faith, love, and peace as she journeyed. She overcame adversity and separation through embodying love, grace, trust, peace, and faith. Hers is one story of faith. And just so you understand, There are many stories and expressions of faith, as there are people. Yours is unique to you. I dare say in our world today, it is rare for us to allow ourselves to be so extremely vulnerable as she was. We are quick to help others, but truly challenged to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to be helped and supported. Sometimes the true gift of giving to another person is to be open and receptive to what they have to offer. What a challenge it is to step out the door, basically open-handed, expectant, hopeful, without protection. We put on many layers of protection and have many attachments to keep us safe, to help us motivate and navigate the world. Think about it. What might be the things that without you would feel exposed and vulnerable? There are the practical things like your cell phone or a charge card or cash. It may be how you dress yourself, cloaking insecurities. Or it may be an attitude put on for protection. Could be timidity, haughtiness, criticism, judgmentalism. Or we may just go along with the crowd so that we don't stand out or seem different. Our greatest fear is fear of being rejected, of not being accepted, just as Jesus was not accepted in his hometown. And we all have our little protections. And when we start putting them on or surrounding ourselves with them, we close off our receptivity. Our hearts are not open. We inhibit our ability to receive the gifts and graces offered through others. We may come to believe that we are what we do as we protect ourselves from being rejected. It is only by the grace of God and through the power of the Holy Spirit that we are able to do anything. Even for Jesus, rejection is hard, but he kept moving on to other villages where people were open to him. Just as Jesus was not received in his hometown, there may be times when you are not received. What you have to offer is not welcomed. That is not your worry. Every now and then, ask yourself, do I walk into the world as a guest? Do I walk in faith? Am I open and receptive to whatever comes? Then simply take a step.